you describe in the book, kind of winding down the studies out of a sense of kind of feeling like you didn't really know what you were playing with. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. We can get to that, but I'm interested in the conspiratorial part. How might the lack of discussion of DMT be part of a conspiracy? Because I wonder, what's going on here.
You mean you think there might be some conspiratorial aspect?
No, I mean, there could be, but you were, raising the conspiratorial issue. Are there conspiracy, theories out there on why
yeah.
people aren't talking about DMT more?
I personally don't believe, but I'm under the impression that when you see people talking about making the connection between fluoride in the water, calcification of the pineal producing DMT,
Oh, right.
There seems to be a kind of a meme that's going around of the government or whoever wants to mind control us is trying to suppress our DMT because DMT is the key to our kind of spiritual essence, or that kind of where you're just making all these connections without really a rigorous evidence, especially the pineal link.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, but still, I mean, I wonder why people aren't, talking about it more. There's the whole, pineal calcification thing, and fluoride, but that I think is peripheral, to the underlying assumption which fuels that conspiracy, which is we produce DMT in our body, and so the whole question, you can't really calm conspiracies with facts, because then the conspiracies just change to incorporate the objections to them. But I think you can sidestep it by pointing to the fact that there is DMT in the brain, not necessarily in the pineal gland.
Yeah, I mean, my personal
I've
take...
got some ideas about why. Yeah, I've got some ideas about why people aren't talking about DMT more. One reason is it's completely weird, and it just would be very hard to introduce into public discourse. It just would be too weird. It'd be people wouldn't know what you were talking about, without having had that experience, or at least hearing about that experience. And most people haven't. Number two is that besides being weird, the implications are incredibly troubling. It throws into question the basis of reality. Is this just an ongoing DMT vision that we're all living in? And most people don't want to really think about that. And thirdly, its characterization, well, from a scientific point of view, from a PR point of view, from a how to change your mind point of view, it stands outside of current discourse about psychedelic drugs. Psychedelic drugs are a gateway into being happy, being fulfilled, not being anxious, not being depressed, feeling well, being cured, being healed. So DMT is kind of, that's really, not what's going on with DMT. It isn't like a new antidepressant or a new anti-addiction drug. It's, DMT that thrusts you into this very strange place. So, the New York Times will be a lot more comfortable, talking about, rating scale scores for pain and depression and opiate use improving, than they are about, people's DMT experiences. So I think, because of, those reasons, it isn't part of the mainstream, discourse, but it's increasingly, part of the psychedelic, drug discourse, and scientifically as well. Science marches on. There are increasing amounts of data, regarding the role and function of DMT.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. My take on that, I think, is that we live in a culture that's so focused on, so values ordinary, everyday waking consciousness, where we can be productive and, you know, uh, take part in society in that specific way. That mainstream culture seems to have a deep hostility to altered states in general. Because we're supposed to kind of stay in our lane and keep trudging along. And so it's a minority of people who engage with altered states in the first place. And then where they're taken to be, when they're moved into the mainstream, it's when they are valuable for that mode of productivity. So with meditation, it's all about reduce your stress, be more effective at work. We see kind of corporate mindfulness, this kind of thing. And as you say, DMT is kind of, go and visit some strange alien landscape for a while, come back down, and some people have therapeutic benefit, but compared to other psychedelics, as you say, it's kind of just a strange sightseeing tour through God knows what. You could say your mind, or through, people have different theories about what it is. But yeah, and then because it's subjective, I mean, our culture has a deep fear of subjectivity. Even I would say, it's only 100 years ago we had behaviorism in psychology and neuroscience, where it's just pretend the mind doesn't exist. It's too subjective. It's too hidden. And so if someone says to you they've had this strange, experience, it's far easier just to say, well, they're mentally ill. They've had something strange happen. It was an odd drug experience. There's nothing of value here. Let's get on with our lives. So yeah, I think we're seeing it gain traction now because it is so astounding. But I think you're right that it's hard to know what to do with it, really.
Right. It's hard to know what to do with it. Yeah, but I think that the more people who consider that question, the more intelligent, the better, and the more well trained, the better. I think we'll start answering it. It could end up being this huge tautology that or recursion, or something that just really doesn't have a definite stop kind of answer. If DMT is modulating our sense of reality, then what modulates it? So I think it's just this some very difficult to grasp implications. And ultimately, it may not make all that much of a difference. What it's doing in our bodies. The fact is, it is in our bodies, and certain things happen to us, experiences and the like. So we're still living in the world of cause and effect. One of my friends, if she got too stoned, she would slip into the brain in a bottle, delusion, that this was, just like the Matrix. It was a brain in a bottle, that was having this kind of experience. And I used to say to her, what difference does it make? I mean, this is our experience. There's cause and there's effect. We still are responsible for the things we do and say and think and feel. So we still ought to try to be good. We ought to still try to avoid doing bad. So I think ultimately it wouldn't really make any difference. I suppose for a small cadre of mad scientists who want to split the veil and end the Matrix, it'll be of interest. But I think practically, it doesn't make all that much difference. It's interesting to think about, like, is there a compound in our brains that regulates our sense of reality? But it's one of those things. If so, so what? I mean, this is our reality, and we got to make the most of it.